Good morning, everyone. Welcome to the Fobi Shareholder Update call. Today, our panelists are Rob Anson, CEO and Chairman of the Board of Fobi, and Mark Lott, CFO of Fobi. Today, and myself, I'm Devin Seidel. I will be the moderator for today's Shareholder Update call. What the kind of overview of what will happen today is Mark and Rob will discuss a few of the key points and updates. And then we'll move into a question and answer section. We've received a bunch of questions that have been previously submitted. Feel free to post your questions in the chat as well as the meeting is going on. We'll try and get to all of the questions. If we're not able to answer them all, Rob will follow up with them later. So I'd like to first start and pass it over to Rob to welcome everyone.
Good morning, good afternoon, everyone. I'm Rob Anson, President, CEO, and Chairman. Mark Lotz, thank you for joining me today to discuss the financial component of the business and our last reporting quarter. This has been an exciting quarter for Loop. We've seen tremendous growth in many areas of the company. Obviously, as you see today and yesterday, a whole new rebrand, which we'll talk about in a bit. But very exciting times with the company continuing to grow, accelerating many opportunities, evolving new solution stacks and whatnot. It's been a huge opportunity for us moving forward now. The Nielsen IQ, very big opportunity for us to focus. The business at hand for us is a real-time data analytics company. Focusing on CPGs was a key component and reason for the Coupon Bureau. We've continued to see advancements in our API capabilities with many different integrations underway with some of the largest point of sale companies today, e-commerce and physical bricks and mortar as well. So lots to come there and stay tuned. When we start to look at the growth over the last 3 months here, it couldn't be better timing for us for this rebrand because we've got numerous pilots that we've been entered into that are all working towards commercialized terms, which will be fantastic for us as a company now as we realize that the revenues and opportunities and being able to give forward guidance at that point in time to truly articulate and explain what does this look like? What is Sobeys and Certas and others? What is that really going to transform into from a revenue perspective for Loop? I received 492 emails yesterday with a lot of questions, which were great. We've got a very engaged shareholder audience, and I do my best to get back to everyone. A dedicated IR person will be something that we're most definitely looking for and hiring for moving forward, so I can actually focus more on the business as opposed to Saturday and Sunday mornings answering 1,000 different emails and LinkedIn messages, which I do appreciate, of course. So as we look towards next quarter, which is our year end, as we have June 30th year end, we look towards now exciting times with revenues and expanded growth. Passcreator acquisition was successfully completed. They are seeing tremendous growth and accelerated business development opportunities as well in the UK and Europe, which for us will be reporting. I'll let Mark explain how that process works, but becomes extremely valuable as a wholly owned subsidiary. Tremendous asset for the company for sure. As we look towards M&A, I see that as a great opportunity for Loop, as we are in a very strong position on all fronts of the business. Continually looking for strategical alignment with our best of breed partners, much like Passcreator, starting to get familiarity, and then looking at what does this mean if we actually share purchase agreement or IP, whatever it may be. So we'll continue to explore all opportunities of that, as we see that as an incredible asset towards revenue as well. It gives us tremendous organic growth and reach through Passcreator to accelerate exposure for us to market awareness for Fobi and all of our other products and venue management. It's been a very interesting year, 18 months, hard to believe, since COVID-19. There's been a lot of challenges, of course, with projects getting off the ground, announcements made, and then delays for months because of lockdowns, which we saw in the UK. Fortunately, here in British Columbia and Vancouver, where we're based, we've had the ability to have a lot more freedom, as we'd say, as opposed to those in Eastern Canada. So COVID-19 is, as much as it's been a pain point and hindrance in some aspects, it's really put us front and center. I mean, if you look at where we were a year ago, as today, as I'm sure Mark will highlight, company is seeing tremendous growth in all facets of its existence to where we are today. We'll be coming up here this month to our second year of publicly being listed and trading. And for us, we look forward to closing out 2021 extremely strong. And I believe we're very, very well positioned now for 2022 and many years to come as a true enterprise company. A lot of questions to get to. We've got dozens of questions here that have come in. I've done my best to work through them all because there's probably 10 questions that I've got asked 90% of the emails. So as Devin said, if there's anything that hasn't been discussed, most people have my email or the IR email. Please shoot me a message. I'll get back to you, if not today, over the next course, a few days. And I'm also happy to hop on calls as needed as well and answer any questions. I think at this time, I'll pass it over to Mark to go through kind of the highlights. Questions around the financials.
Okay, thanks, Rob. I'm going to speak to the Q3 financial statements, which were reviewed by our auditors, Manning Elliott, and just recently published and available on SEDAR. So with that, I'll get into the specifics. As you're aware, the company's managed a tremendous growth over the last 9 months. As measured by market capitalization, the company's gone from essentially 13.7 million to 198 million, with total shares outstanding rising from 93 million to 128. The balance sheet has more than doubled in assets, and a big part of that is cash. At the period end, we had 1.9 million in cash as compared to 171,000 at June 30th year end. This gives us a tremendous boost in working capital. Accounts receivables reduced from 1,077,000 to 738,000. That's a 31% reduction, again contributing to liquidity. Accounts payable has been reduced from 1.9 to 805,000. And I stress the effort to working capital and to preserving cash. Much of the reduction in accounts payable and liabilities was done through shares, which are at a favorable price to the company. So all in all, working capital is improved by 3,170,000. Moving to equity, this improvement in working capital was accomplished through an overwhelming show of confidence from our existing investors and previous subscribers who exercised 23,220,000 warrants and exercised 3.5 million stock options. A further 5.7 million was issued for cash, and 1.4 million shares were issued to extinguish obligations. All in all, 6.125 million was raised from financing activities. I'll move to operations. The net loss from operations was 6,753,000, or 2.5 million higher than the preceding year comparable period. Of this, 2.9 or nearly $3 million was the expense of issuing stock-based compensation, and this did not affect cash flow. This represents an investment in the growing Fobi team, needed to take the company to the next level. So there's an enduring benefit there, and I think it's money well spent, or an expense well incurred. In addition, the company recorded an $87,000 gain on the settlement of convertible debentures. And so the net cash used when normalized, we do a comparison, it was only marginally higher when considering the increased levels of activity in the company and the post-COVID-19 lockdown. We've spooled up tremendously. We've done a good job, in my opinion. Kudos to the team. As Rob mentioned, subsequent to year end, or to the period end, Fobi acquired a strategic partner, past creator. This was largely achieved through the issuance of shares, and will immediately accelerate the company's path to revenue, as well as providing significant cost reductions in licensing fees. Additionally, Fobi will have direct access to sell its other products to past creators' existing and future clients, increasing the reach globally. Many of past creators' clients or customers are household names and Fortune 500 companies. So with that, I'll turn it over to Rob, and we can answer some of the specific questions raised by participants.
Great. So yeah, we'll move into the question period again. Just stating, if you have any additional questions that you haven't submitted before, you may ask them in the Q&A section and we'll try to get to them, but we do have a list of questions that were previously submitted. So starting that off, the first question is about the rebrand. So what was the purpose of the rebrand?
Great question. This is something we've been working on for months. Many reasons. Most importantly here, it's about, we've made a few acquisitions to date. The company's evolved tremendously. Big focus for us is unifying our assets. Loop Insights was startup look and feel and kind of story, a very small team. And now that we've kind of found who we are and morphed into our strengths and really wanted to focus on having our own brand identity. There was 50 different loops and same logos. If people search, and there's a lot of confusion. Obviously, when I'm in meetings with institution groups and retail investment groups, a lot of confusion over even ticker symbol. Another, matrix service company, RACMF, which obviously is challenging. Having that unified identity and ticker symbol helps us, of course, with the uplist process as well. But more importantly, I wanted us to have a very strong, distinct brand, as we are now becoming a market leader in real-time data analytics and capabilities, plugging in our digital wallet capabilities. Our story now is becoming extremely strong. And as you've seen with the alignment of Nielsen, IQ, and Oracle, and TELUS, and others, that it was very important for us to have that strong messaging and people to go to a site to truly understand, here's what Fobi does.
Great. The next one is specifically about the Fobi IoT device. Are there any issues related to producing Fobi devices in a large quantity for Fobi's future growth due to the shortage of chips in the world?
Yeah, this is something we've been preparing for. I've been preparing for quite some time, years, in fact. So we've been accumulating inventory of these certain components that there are shortages of. I said this isn't just something that came as a result of COVID. This began 3-4 years ago. So for us, we're also looking to redesign an entirely new board with greater capacity from a processing standpoint. It'll actually reduce costs and have about 10 times the efficiency as to what we currently have today. Being able to do a lot more of the processing on the edge, as they call it, as opposed to cloud. So it's a very intelligent question. Thank you for that, by the way. That's great to see how aware some people are of some of these challenges today with hardware. It is another component of it too, is important, not to get off topic, but why we put a great emphasis and a lot of time building that vend model, because it is something that can be replicated over and over and over now. We have all that process, and whether it's plugging in that same now with Oracle and Shopify, or some of these other companies that are out there, e-commerce that we're already working with, and we'll be sharing news around those in the near future. But having that diversity is a huge strength of ours, that it's not just you're a hardware company, you're software. We're extremely agile in tying the e-com, the mobile, of course, with the wallets, and that physical bricks and mortar all together. So for us, it's agility is always key. Look how we've evolved throughout COVID. If you look at the company and the growth, new platforms we've built, all stems from our extreme agility as a company and dedicated solution stacks.
The next one is around company growth. Do you see the company's growth rate as a concern and a potential risk factor?
No, I don't see it as a concern, because everything we've done has always been with scale in mind. Whether that's the technology, the hardware, the software, the onboarding, the billing, all of these various components, they're all automated. This is why we're able to onboard customers so quickly. We've been able to work with AWS on a lot of the onboarding and parsing of the receipt structuring, and using AI and stuff as help accelerate this, where most organizations look at 60, 90, 120 days. We're like a week at max. And that's not just, plugging in the Fobi, and that takes seconds. We're talking full on analytics and insights and AI forecasting. So our integration component and speed to market, I would say, is unparalleled. It's why we've been able to garner a lot of these interest, and our goal was to get into as many pilots as we could to prove the technology, prove the model, obviously learn a great deal about the industry pain points and challenges, and how we can really laser focus on crafting that message of value. Now it's about to pay dividends, because the successful completion of a lot of these now, and working towards commercialized terms. So I don't see it as a risk factor. There's tremendous support in what we've built with our partner model as well. If you've seen what we've done in the UK with Steve Gray and SG Retail, this is what we look at agility. I mean, TELUS is a prime example, right? We spent 18 months or whatever it's been with TELUS to really hone that relationship and the product to where it needs to be, and internal messaging to support the existing TELUS business model. For us, it's I've always looked towards the channel reseller, and this is what the importance of Fobi, when we dedicated a SIM card module, gives us that out of the box value to the telcos. I did have one question, not to add another one for you, Dev, but someone had asked me about is the TELUS exclusivity? No, we don't enter into any exclusive deals. We work with all, we're agnostic. We're about best of breed partners and solution providers for us. So we see a path to continue global scale. Telco will play a big part of that, of course, much like we've done successfully now with converting the TELUS to products sold and serviced as a TELUS product, which is in fact powered by Fobi. I almost said Loop. So no, I don't see it. I don't see it as something that's going to prohibit us or be a risk factor.
Perfect. And that actually leads into a next set of questions that are surrounded around the direct reseller status at TELUS. So I'll just ask a list of them, because I'm sure you'll answer them all. What does this mean to Fobi in terms of a revenue stream? How will Fobi financially benefit from this status? And will Fobi generate revenue from each contract that TELUS directly sells to clients?
Yeah, 100%. Everything now, the TELUS network now. There's no POC pilots here. This is this is a TELUS product now that is sold into the market to their customers. It's serviced through the TELUS network as well. Each contract and opportunity, of course, is all revenue generated. We have agreed upon terms of our products and services, professional services, every gamut of touch point of what we provide from a product and service as well. So no, this for us is a very important, not just milestone, but I'd say a keystone component as we look to evolve now and replicate this, just like we started with Vend, have now moved on to the other point of sale companies. We wanted to get this right. There's a lot of opportunity within TELUS, and there'll be some other news around some of these other projects and deployments we're doing. But for me, it was really about the relationship here and being able to build that wash, rinse, repeat model. And this has really accelerated now conversations with many of the other large telcos, because it's very difficult to get in the door, as you can all appreciate. Seeing now the success and the third-party validation is a big one to me. This has now sparked the others to kind of re-engage, if you will, and look to, okay, great, we've seen what you've done. You've gone through all the hoops and circles and whatnot. And for us now, this puts us in a great position.
I'll just renote one of those. So will Fobi generate revenues from each contract that TELUS directly sells to its clients?
Yeah, no, I just reiterate that each and every contract that generates revenue for us, that TELUS sells and services and provides for.
Perfect. The next one is about company revenue. So the question is, why are there delays in revenue?
Yeah, there's, it's like I said, it's been a very challenging year. As our products are sitting in multiple different countries, there's been many different restrictions. Look at pharmacists and others that we signed deals with, and then all of a sudden there's lockdown for 90 days, right? It obviously kind of takes the wind out of the sails per se. Obviously, when we start to look at, Senior Frogs and others is another prime example. Their business is decimated with the restrictions and shutdowns, to the point where their only operation was running in Orlando, right? Because Florida was obviously, open and it didn't have the restrictions as we saw with the NCAA event that we did down there. But for us, big part of the working with TELUS as well and his groups is the understanding and support for their clients. And when it's feasible, we weren't holding a gun to people for collecting here. As for us, is like I said, we're just starting these relationships, and for us, we've garnered a lot of respect for the way that our company has conducted itself over this difficult period. Not only from a performance, from a market cap and whatnot, but more importantly with our clients. How we're helping them stay relevant and stay open and in business in some cases here, and giving them the hope of understanding the power and leverage of digital transformation for us. So it's something that, like I said, it's not easy. Of course, I'd love to see it as much as everyone else and be here with a big smile and stuff. But, I take full accountability for a lot of decisions that we made to support the retailers and vendors. I stand by that. And, as I said, things now change from here on. So it's for us, I'm extremely confident, and I'm proud of what we've done. I'm proud of our team and decisions that we've all made together as a team. and we look forward to the remainder of the year.
And building off of revenue, this one is specifically about the Big White Ski Resort contract. So Fobi signed a 4-year venue management agreement with Big White Ski Resort. When is Fobi expecting to see revenues from this contract?
Yeah, so that was another one, obviously, that came through TELUS. That was a big project. By the time that we got to contract, literally the end of the season. So we pushed pause. We've been working now to implement this for the fall. Once we get past through summer, it's kind of great timing for us as well, because the whole pass creator component here, the strength now of the integrated solution, Big White was really looking to transform the user guest experience to a mobile digital capacity. And it is something we will realize revenue immediately out of the gate. One is implemented here in the fall. So it's not a matter of if, it's when. And unfortunately, like I said, with timing, it was literally 3 weeks left in their season. So understandably, from a operation standpoint, you know, it just didn't work out to get the 3 weeks under our belt, which in all honesty wouldn't have generated a great deal of revenue anyhow.
The next question is about Euclips. Can you provide an update in regards to Euclips?
Yeah, Euclips. I get asked this one a lot, and Euclips is one that, for those that don't know, is an acquisition that we made a few years back, actually. It's a video review platform. Where I saw the opportunity was being able to authenticate the review because it's tied to purchase. We can make that connection. But as we've seen the transcending, you know, social dynamic with Instagram and Facebook and TikTok and others now, it's something we have been working on, put back on the back burner a little bit, I would say, just because of the demand and pressure we're facing as a tech team. You know, as you've seen, we're frantically hiring. We have been for months, as well as our team is growing and growing and growing to be able to keep up to the demand. So we have a couple key integrations to do to finalize that. We will be doing a rebrand of Euclips itself as well before we do a soft launch, and integrating the e-commerce component, as I mentioned, to probably hundreds of people on phone calls and emails. That part of the process we look to have wrapped up here in the next few months. So it's not going anywhere. It's a huge excitement of mine, and it's something, like I said, we are a small team. You know, I don't have the luxury of 500 developers, so we're trying to keep first and foremost the Fobi deployments and the business at hand, while working on that on the side as well.
The next question is about Fobi. Where did the name Fobi come from, and does it stand for anything?
Fobi, yes, it came from our private company back in the day, Fobi Suite Technologies. Fobi was an acronym that we came up with for front office business intelligence. That's where Fobi came from. So it is. I'm excited about the name. We've had a great reaction. It's something that stands out, and people kind of, oh, that's different, right? And for us, that's kind of that is what's that point of differentiation is a product and marketing positioning, as we always tell. And I think for us, Fobi becomes you know, extremely powerful for us.
Next question is about Nielsen IQ. Can you shed some light as to the size and scope of that opportunity?
Yeah, this is, like I said, this is something that for us really transforms the business in a big way. You know, the challenge is a new company is always trying to get your foot in the door. And, you know, I used to be excited when I would get a meeting with some of these groups, and, you know, but now when you're walked into the door, I mean, their Nielsen IQ has been very focused on the grocery vertical and convenience vertical and pet are kind of the first three. You know, the meetings that we've had to date, or early meetings, I think the smallest chain's about 1,200 locations. You know, some of them are the largest organizations in grocery, as you can imagine, who those are. And it's pretty amazing to see the reaction, quite honestly. You know, when I've talked about the power of real time for quite some time here, that is 100% the Loop differentiators. Where the world is moving, where every second means, you know, millions of dollars to these organizations, having that power of real time capability here is what's not only getting us in the door, but getting us pretty deep into where we're headed next. One of the other questions to you, Devin, sorry, I apologize, but that popped up here, I read there, was that will there be a ticker symbol change? Yes, there will be in upcoming weeks. We will give plenty of notification around that. It will be Fobi for TSXV and Fobi F for the OTC. So we will have unified ticker symbols. Sorry to jump in.
Right. No, that's okay. The next one is about the Passcreator acquisition. Can you give an update on Passcreator and how this acquisition is going to benefit Fobi?
Oh, it's a good one for us, for sure. This is probably say one of the hottest tech companies in the world right now is Passcreator. What they've been able to do this year alone, even, is mind-boggling, quite honestly. I mean, when you look at their list of clients, as we mentioned in previous press releases, in different government sector now projects they're doing, and you know, as the world's reopening, the identity piece and wallet is playing such a big part. To see what they're doing in Europe and internationally, quite honestly, is just fantastic. I mean, as Mark alluded to, the numbers now will fall into our next reporting. For us is revenue as well, which add tremendous value. You know, what it's also done for us, of course, as well, is it's giving us that organic business development arm, right? People see the wallets and they go, oh, well, what if we could, you know, we have access to Fobi technology as well as part of this. And, you know, if you look at their clients, they're all now reaching out to understand how do we tie these that we've already done with Passcreator to have an integrated combined solution. So it's been a huge boost for us as well. And just from an exposure standpoint, even alone, you know, it's pretty impressive to see what they've done with a very small team. And like I said, these guys are just lighting it up.
And the next one is about mergers and acquisition opportunities. Is the company pursuing any other M&A opportunities?
Yeah, I'm always looking for opportunities strategically. You know, it's kind of the same model nowadays, is you don't have time to build everything. You know, if you look at a company like a Lightspeed, pretty much the whole company's been built on mergers and acquisitions. So I look at that model as well. And, you know, there's certain opportunities that we're in discussions with where it makes sense to buy as opposed to build, just because it accelerates the product capability and solution stack so much, and especially because right now we're right there on becoming the leader of real-time data applications in CPG retail. And this is the benefit, as I mentioned. I made a pretty big, bold statement in our press release with the Coupon Bureau and what that will mean to the company from a revenue standpoint. And we're seeing what that means now. I mean, like I said, I'm not going to want to sit here and go, oh, we almost got there. No, we're going full ahead, and I'm going to take the ball and run. So we're aggressively pursuing a couple companies in that aspect right now. And another one that's a private company that's got some very, very large scale that is very synergistic. So it's a good plug-in, but most definitely always looking. And I'm very fortunate that I get introduced to a lot of companies over the last year that you look to locally and past creators. I like to understand and start off as a partner if possible. So I get to understand the inner workings of their company, their challenges, their strengths and needs, and then look at how can how can I position a story of obviously undermined value, but how we can enhance and bring them to the next level.
There's another one here that came in from Past Creator. Does Past Creator cease to exist, or do they continue to maintain their own presence beside Fobi?
No, their setup is their own company. It was just a share purchase agreement that we own 100% of Past Creator. But no, it'll continue to run and operate as its own independent, which provides not only a huge asset for us, but huge opportunity to see where they go. Because like I said, they're growing extremely quickly and are becoming one of the global leaders in digital wallet pass technology for sure.
The next one here is about Allnet. Is there any insight into the timing of the Allnet project?
Yeah, the Allnet project is it's a very exciting one for us. They've got all their funding. They've got all of their approvals from city and the trade and work unions. They've started pre-construction, and we're in the ground floor. This is a tremendous opportunity for us. Their tech team has 150 years of experience. So for them to identify us as playing a significant role of doing the heavy lifting for them and being evolved and helping assist and pick and choose best of breed technologies and partners and product offerings, not only bodes well for us, but a lot of our partners that we work with that, we've already done the work and heavy lifting and integrations. No point rebuilding it, right? So we'll be able to plug these in and provide them almost turnkey solution for 90% of the business right out of the gate, which is, hugely beneficial to them. It is, as I said, it's something that's already underway. We're just looking now at size and scope of our commitment and I guess addition to the project and finalizing our commercial terms and agreement as well on that. But that's a very big project to be stamping the Fobi name to is it's going to be huge exposure for us.
Great. And as we're getting to 9:45 here, I'll just ask this last question. There's a few questions about the Sobeys Pilot. Is there any update on the Sobeys Pilot?
Yeah, Sobeys Pilot is going very well. People perhaps don't understand as well as, I'll use Sobeys as an example. They approached us about a challenge with real-time data capabilities. It started off with plugging in the Fobi device to give them that real-time interoperable data connectivity. Then it evolved into, okay, now that we have the data, how do we leverage the data? Now it's the digital receipting, and then it turns to the wallet pass, and then it's the in-store activation and move towards loyalty. So these things start as one in the door. Obviously, these large chains and organizations have huge, very complex IT infrastructure. So completing integrations and all the various iterations of what we've developed with them in this partnership is it's been a lot of work, like I said. But the good news is that it's evolved into many pieces of the puzzle, which bodes well for us.
Great. So I'd just like to wrap up here. Again, any questions that weren't answered here will be submitted to Rob, and he can follow up with those at a later date. I'd like to thank you, Rob, for hosting this today, and also Mark for joining and giving the financial update as well. We will record, this is recorded, and we will post this for later access. Thank you to all our shareholders for joining today. And are there any last notes that you have, Rob?
Yeah, I would just like to finish with the same sentiment as thank you to, we have a very, very engaged shareholder audience. And, as I said previously before, it's, I try to get back to everyone as much as I can. Quite accessible. It bugs me a little bit when I can answer 19 questions, but I miss one and I get called out for it, right, by a certain individual. the same side, we've got tremendous support. We've got tremendous momentum. The company has never been in a better position financially. And from a product standpoint, with talent joining our team, with Ian Cameron, of course, working alongside you and creating this, the rebranding. I've had huge excitement over that, not just from our shareholders, but from our partners and our clients as well. Everyone's very excited about that. So the company has great momentum. We're positioned extremely well. I've been taking a great deal of effort and focus on that. As people saw, Nielsen was 8 months just to orchestrate that. TELUS has been 18 months. Like I said, these things take time, and I appreciate everyone for their patience and understanding and the continued support that we receive.
Thank you. All right. Have a good day, everyone.
Thank you.
Thanks, Devin. Thanks, Mark.